Centre of London.
Well, there were quite extraordinary scenes here at Westminster. I mean, normally it's an extremely industrious place with government departments and official bodies, headquarters and MPs' offices and one thing and another. And I just witnessed this controlled stampede out of all these offices into the park that's just by the House of Commons and by the river, just as people just evacuated. I'm quite sure that Her Majesty's government carried on its good offices with its customary expedition, but one could be forgiven at that moment for thinking otherwise.
And what about the traffic? Because clearly a lot of people would have suddenly been enveloped in this darkness and were looking up skywards.
The traffic was, I have to say, lighter than usual, and it was quite a spooky experience to watch people in the middle of the day suddenly putting on their headlights. Of the House of Commons itself, I kind of half expected to see that suddenly glimmering like a fairy palace, but I'd actually checked with officials in Westminster, in the Palace of Westminster a little bit earlier, and they said it was open for business as usual, but they weren't anticipating very much in the way of extra illumination because, of course, it's a pretty gloomy place normally.
Now, at this time of year, London is swilling over with foreign tourists. What were they doing generally?
They were doing what comes naturally, I suppose it's true to say. But here in Millbank, of course, they were milling like crazy. The park was just solid with people, as I say, and they were just standing in this park, gawping at the sun, and sometimes some of them through their little glasses, and a great many of them, I'm pleased to say, were able to avail themselves of sky facilities in that. If they didn't have the little glasses, they could look through the viewfinder of our camera here with a great deal more safety than looking up directly. And so we earned ourselves a great many extra fans.
Well, unlike Cornwall, of course, the weather here in London has been pretty good.
Yes, it was indeed pretty good, and it was an extraordinary experience watching it here, a perfectly normal, reasonably sunny day, and then progressively going dimmer and dimmer. I have to say that when it finally came to the crunch, it didn't obviously go black, but it confirmed what I've always believed, working in the political unit, that here in Westminster we really live in a twilight zone.
Peter Spencer at Westminster.